Well, the road to tip-off is presented by Udo. Click, capture, and connect. And hi, everybody, and welcome to the Utah Jazz Open Practice exclusively here on Zoom. This is a first, and we are glad to have Jazz Nation. Coach Quin Snyder is mic'd up. The Jazz are just moments away from starting their scrimmage, and let's go down and listen in to Coach Q.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. So, AJ. Good. Here. So let's make sure we get rotations through. Talk to AJ right now. Okay, and we'll let two. And
Got our little arrows.
And you guys sub in. Okay, we're good. Good. Bilbao, who called that? Mike? Here we go. Good. Keep playing. Stay here. Stay here. Good. Good. Stay here. Blue ball side out. Okay, so we'll run two ways like that. Okay, run two ways. Blue. Okay, did we play the front side on that end? No, we just swung through the top. Okay, play the front side. Okay, Trent, I watched you all summer. Get yourself C. Okay, Jared, let's get hip. Okay, we see Eli in the corner. Let's get wide. Okay, get in your head. Play the front side. Keep it simple. Okay, here we go.
Ball in.
Good. Patience, Trent. In the corner, Mie. Good, go. Good, good. Here we go. Slow. Good, let's go. Good. Stay here, side out. Stay here, side out, blue. Side out. Mia, you got to stay in the corner. That's a shot, right? You're creeping out, okay? Don't. You're anticipating a DHO, right, where we get a kick. Hey, for everybody, I told this to Eric. Like, we're getting in a habit at times of just these flat DHOs, okay, which are easy to guard. We're open and under. Let's look right now to pass, cut, okay, and drive off his back, okay, so we get pressure on the rim, okay? Here we go. Play to the whistle. Yep. Okay, who's got blue? Huddle with blue. You got blue, right, Vince? Okay, stack. Blue ball under out of bounds. Okay. Okay, Mike, you guys talk through stack. We're going to run stack right now. Okay, options out of stack. You guys talk about. Okay. Good. Let's just play out of it. Thank you. All right. Good. All right. This is good. This is the stuff I want you. And my mic is off. No, I'm talking to Rudy. My mic's on, right? Yeah. Okay. You good? Has he been in yet? Just put him in. Yeah. Second. Good. Ball was tipped. Ball was tipped. I understand, right? Another bad call. Okay? Under out of bounds, White. Okay? Good. Good screen down there, EP. Okay? Keep thinking through these options. Okay? Keep thinking different locations. Okay? Keep thinking spacing. All right? Okay, in the deep corner. Way to flip it, Hassan. Gone. That's a whole nother level. Good. Okay, good. I got blue ball under out of bounds. Okay, hey, one thing we haven't talked about, okay, and Don, when we get deep corner like that, okay, deep corner, normally we're channel, okay? If we get this deep corner situation, it's a little bit like the drag, we can play it flat, okay, where he's actually sending the ball back to the middle, and that can be an under, okay? And if he wants to punish us one time on that, we can adjust. We may adjust the blitz, okay? But that's, those different locations, we'll get there, okay? And he should be telling you that. Here we go, here we go. Pass it! Let's go, let's play. Good, Hassan, that was perfect. Okay, you know what happened right there? Like your patience got Mike deep. Yeah, that angle. Okay, perfect. And then if they get in, what happens too, even though Mike slows down, okay, if they do, we bait him into that early channel. Now he's got you and you're driving with him. Whose ball is it? White. Okay, White ball. Didn't White just score? Yeah, they started it. Okay, blue ball side out. Blue ball side out. Okay. Joe, you want to argue with me? Okay, all right. I'm the referee, all right. You just pick your spots. You're not talking to me the whole year? Okay. Good job, Eli. Patience. That's the way. I like it, Eli. Good. Okay, let's go. Okay, good. Good. Okay, blue shoot a free throw. Eli, you got a free throw. Mike, huddle him right here under the bucket. Okay? Right here, JC. Don, you out? Okay. So let's go out of free throw package. Let's run dive.
Well, we just want to give you a little 10-minute taste of Quin Snyder, Big T, Craig Bolerjack, and Thurl Bailey. Glad you're alongside. We'll listen to David Locke. We'll take your questions here on Zoom. Great turnout so far. Tell your friends to jump on, watching some Jazz scrimmage before we take off to go to San Antonio tomorrow, play the first preseason game against the Spurs, and then we'll televise our first game on Wednesday night against the Dallas Mavericks and Big D. You know, it's very rare Coach will let you come inside his house.
Yes.
And Jazz Nation, I hope you appreciate some of the conversations you just heard.
Well, you know, never before really has Jazz Nation been able to be in the huddle, right in the huddle or behind the curtain, as you talked about on the road to start the season. This is where it begins right here.
What do you see so far? I tell you, people have been asking on Zoom about Donovan wearing 22. I believe, I don't know this, but 22 was worn by Rowe and Jordan up at the University of Utah. Tragically, both lost their lives, and I'm sure Donovan is obviously well aware of that. I've seen Epe, I've seen Hassan, I've seen some power inside. I just saw Donovan Mitchell work through a double pump and then a pass underneath to Gobert just before we came back on, and I think we heard Quin say that's another level.
Yeah. Well, I think the officiating is great, by the way, because it's Quin Snyder calling the fouls and calling the plays. But it's really good to see these guys. Especially, my attention goes right to the veterans, right? Because they set an example for everybody else. They come in ready. They don't use training camp to get in shape. These guys are already ready to go and really excited about getting started after a great season, regular season last year.
Mike Conley, by the way, running the point, and he will change his number this year to 11. And health obviously will be one of the big concerns for Mike and the rest of this Jazz team. But the depth they have and what they did in the offseason has turned a lot of heads, not only in the Utah, Salt Lake City area, but around the NBA.
No question about it. What I'm really giddy about is kind of the big man.
I knew you would be.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, you talk about Hassan Whiteside, Doak, and the big fella, Rudy. It's just amazing to see that kind of talent on a team, especially in practice, which gives each other a chance to get better, bang against each other. And so I'm loving the big fella moves.
Well, that stat right there tells you a lot about the defensive prowess of the Jazz. Anthony Davis, most blocks per game, followed by Hassan Whiteside and Rudy Gobert, Serge Ibaka at 2.0. And I just want to say to Jazz fans listening, we had a chance on Monday to spend about 6 hours with all the Jazz players, and it's been about 18, 19 months since we had that type of interaction. But Whiteside is so intriguing. He was very upfront about his last year in Sacramento, just saying it wasn't him.
Yep.
COVID struck Hassan Whiteside, fatigue, never felt like he was really in the basketball groove. And for him, as a former player, I'm guessing he is taking this as another opportunity to show who he is.
Oh, he said that. And he said, I'm looking for an opportunity to win a championship. And so when you look at where he's been and his ultimate goals and being able to play with another great defensive player in the league, he's going to add a lot to this team.
I want to bring in Nio Campbell from the Jazz digital team, and Nio, it's great to have you alongside today. I know you've been following Chat. I've been following Chat too, man. People are just can't get enough, right? Can't get enough.
They're going so fast. I'm trying to get all the questions in. And I'm seeing a lot. Yes, dark mode will be returning. The dark mode jerseys will be returning. That was a big question people were asking. Of course, they were wondering why Donovan was wearing a number 22, and you confirmed that as well. Some people were also asking about training camp, and so I did have the opportunity to go to training camp, see the guys really be able to bond. They were in Vegas. Which really meant that it was all basketball all the time, in addition to being able to, of course, go to practice and have 2 practices a day, but also just be able to just be around each other and really kind of build that brotherhood. This is a really, really close-knit team. I say that they're just a bunch of besties. That's something that I'm always saying. Their personalities are great, even with our new additions with Rudy, Hassan, and Jared. Again, they just kind of meshed well together. And it seemed like Vegas was a great idea. I mean, we all love Vegas, right?
Yes. Niall, let me ask you this. A lot of people say, why Vegas? And there was some talk about that Quin liked the bubble so much. And you mentioned it about, bringing the brotherhood of these players together. And I don't think it's over. A lot of people say can't be. They can't be this close. It's almost like a college team. But in reality, it's true, right? That's what you saw.
Yeah, no, last year was my first year. And so that was just something that I noticed, right off the bat, was just how close, this brotherhood was just so unique. And having worked for other NBA teams, you really get to see, how some players get along and how some of them don't. And that's just one thing that's super, super special about this team is how close they are. I could tell that from a Zoom. But then just, with us having media day, those 6 hours, I mean, we were up at 6 a.m. at the arena, and they were just coming in. Everyone gets along really well. I forgot to mention Eric being one of, Donovan's best friends growing up, and his relationship already with the players. They went to go to the Las Vegas Aces game together, sitting courtside at the game. I just think it's just a special group. And I do think the bubble had a big deal. It definitely changed their relationship. I really feel like, being in the bubble, they definitely got really tighter there. So I do think it was smart for them to go to Vegas and kind of recreate that atmosphere. They were balling under chandeliers. I mean, right there.
Yeah, at the Wynn Hotel. Hey, Niall, continue to take a look at chat. We'll check back in with you. And if you do have a question for Big T or David Locke, Niall will take those and pass them along to us. But the Jazz continue to hold their last scrimmage of a week that started on Monday with Media Day, and then the trip down to Vegas, as Niall mentioned. And now here we are at the Zions Bank basketball campus. I'm excited. This team is deep T. They made some changes. We saw what happened against the Clippers with small ball that LA put on the Jazz. Hassan Whiteside, you got Pascal, who's a friend of Donovan, but yet a big body.
Yes.
And also, I'm intrigued to see what the rookie Jared Butler, who slid in the draft to the second round, but many have told us that if there's one player in that draft that could be basketball ready for minutes in the NBA, it's Jared Butler.
Well, the Jazz have really been good historically at seeing some of those things. They have that lens where they may be able to see something in a player that maybe other teams haven't seen, and they take a chance on that player. They bring that player here. They develop them, and they turn into amazing NBA players. And you heard Niall talk about the relationship of this team. That obviously starts with the veterans, but Bowler, you and I know that doesn't mean that they're perfect and that they get along all the time.
The chat requests, and we deliver a couple of nice moves coming up with Jared Butler. And, he's a 6'4" guy. And he told us, in our meetings on Monday, I was so impressed. But, he says, look, I've won. I've won everywhere I've been. High school, obviously just fresh off an NCAA championship with Maceo Teague, and who's also part of this Jazz team right now. I was impressed with his cool, calm demeanor, and I could tell he had a lot of confidence and a little basketball savvy. In fact, not a little, a lot.
Yeah, he does. And listen, there's always some kind of transition when you come from college to the pros. If it's not as much in your game, because we know some players come NBA ready, I think he has the ability to do that. But I think personality-wise, leadership-wise, what he's going to absorb from these veterans is going to be so important. And to finish my thought about, it's like a family, right? Family doesn't get along all the time, but they find a way to resolve whatever they need to resolve in their own way in the locker room. And that's what I love about this team, is that you never see or hear any of that coming outside the locker room doors.
I love that thought, because you're right. It's not, you can talk about, someone just was on chat talking about band of brothers. Yeah, but sometimes that band of brothers don't get along every day.
That's right. I didn't get along with my brother.
And I think it's good, to air it out sometimes.
That's right.
There's Rudy with a dump. I'm excited for Conley. Happy birthday, Joe, as he launches up a 3-ball and the backside rebound. You got the whistle. Is Quin calling the calls, the fouls down?
It was a foul if Quin called it.
Look at Joe. They do have a special bond, Joe Ingles and Quin Snyder. It's like another coach on the floor. And, and through chat, Joe just has a way, T, of making you laugh. He's got that edge to him. And he does get inside his opponent's head just a bit.
He does. And he doesn't have to really work hard to do it. But I think the biggest thing is the respect that he has on this team and throughout the league. I mean, you hear anybody else talk about Joe, they know that he's a guy that's cool, calm, and collected, and can shoot that 3.
All right, Jazz taking a little breather, and we'll talk real quick about the new look Jazz. And there's a lot of new faces, but some old ones as well. It's a great blend.
100% vegan bamboo.
But you need a pocket square. I think I might have one here.
Hey, have you guys seen Locke?
Who?
Oh, no. Oh, it's up, around, and then through the doggy door.
You guys, anybody seen Locke? Have you seen Locke? Hey, seen Locke?
No.
A stifling cup of Joe. No,
stupid. That's a Rocky Mountain tomahawk. Come on, block.
Lock. Come on, it's showtime. Let's go.
These are the voices that bring you the Utah Jazz.
First time I've seen that. It was released today, I believe.
Me too.
David Locke joins us now via Zoom. And David, I got to believe that wasn't too far off the truth, that was probably your study at home, my friend.
You guys told me to go to the arena. All that Band of Brothers talk, all that and you told me to go to the wrong place.
Hey, that's what brothers do.
Not only where's Locke, where can we hide Locke?
What's up, D-Lock?
Not much. That is probably close to the truth. If I released my background and went to where I actually am, we might see a mess that's similar to that in this room.
Congratulations, you and Boone back for another go. And we've added Holly Rowe to the broadcast team. Big T is going to join me for, all of them. And it's exciting. Holly has such a great history in this state and beyond at ESPN. She's with College Football Today. She's been covering the WNBA. And we're excited. A lot of voices, a lot of faces cover this franchise.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And I'm pretty excited to get back out and do the job, and it's full throttle. Everyone did the best they could last year. Our crew gave us the best opportunity to do a good job, but there was no way you can do it quite the same way without whether it's the elevator conversation or the lobby conversation or the waiting for the bus conversation or just the mood or the back of the plane conversation, just those little moments where you're around the team. You guys have talked a lot with Nio about the Band of Brothers and the togetherness of this group. We see that all the time. That's why you send me to the wrong place. And really, I'm sure somebody missed the coffee shop in the back of the plane on a long flight. At some point, that's got to open back up.
That's right.
Can't
I
go through a
forgot.
season without the coffee shop in the back of the plane.
David does carry his own coffee shop and makes coffee, which is an amazing thing to see. David, as these guys start to get back to work, what's your thoughts as the Jazz start off on a new season with a lot of hopes? And you know what? It's not an overstatement, too. I think the rest of the national media point to the Utah Jazz in the Western Conference as potential Western Conference champs and beyond. Yeah,
they're really good. I still think, 27 and 45 most of the time, not today, but usually are still on our roster. We still got Quin Snyder. We're really good. We're really, really good. I think maybe the best way I know how good we are is because you're walking around town and everybody wants to talk to you about Jared Butler and Rudy Gay. And, when I remember old great Bill Burtka. Do you guys remember Bill Burtka, the legendary Laker coach? I was just starting my career. So this is in the 90s. And I remember saying to Bill Burtka, at some Laker event, I'm not sure about Mark McNamara. He looks at me and goes, son, if you're worried about your 10th man, you're pretty darn good.
Hey, Rudy Gay just stepped in to throw the jump. And now there's another session, David, of the scrimmage will continue with Joe running the point. And by the way, it is Joe's birthday as he dumps it down inside to Gobert. Hey, David, real quick, what was your thoughts? You and I talked, and so did T to you on Locked On Jazz, but you mentioned, and we talked about Rudy and the way he played for France in the Olympics and how dominant and confident and strong he played.
Yeah, I mean, he was terrific. It seems that, he's pretty special, I think, right, Thurl?
Oh, no question. I told you that a few years ago, and I think you jumped on board, didn't you?
It took me a while. It actually didn't take me very long at all. You just saw it before the rest of us. I think the aspect of this of Rudy is just he keeps getting better every year. And, last year, arguably, was maybe the best defensive year by any player in the history of the game. I don't know if you actually, I was, I can get you into all the boring analytics. I don't want to put Zoom people to sleep on Zoom, so I won't do it. But just trust me on that. Now the next question is does he have an offensive step to what he's doing? And I actually think what we just saw right there, having Hassan Whiteside to go up against every day is going to be great for him because that's how you get better.
So, David, let me ask you this because sometimes I say Rudy is only as good on the offensive end as he gets a little lob pass right here as the guards or as the pick and roll coming off the pick and roll because he's not going to get any post ups. So what do you see this year? We know about the Joe-Rudy relationship off the pick and roll, the Donovan-Rudy. You see anything different this year that's going to give him an opportunity to show us what he can do offensively?
All right, I'm going to get a little analytical here. I can't do it. I tried not to. I just can't help myself.
You can't. Yeah, I know.
So,
we know that.
We're the number one pick and roll offense in the NBA. We're also the number one pick and roll defense in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So what does the opponent want to do? Play as little pick and roll with us as possible. So the way you do it on the defensive end is you switch, right? So we're going to see, I think, at some point in every single game this year, the opponent go to one switching every pick. Mm-hmm. And it's those, every time we see it as a Jazz fan, we should be excited. It shouldn't be, oh no, here it comes. It should be, oh great, more practice for the playoffs. And let's hope they give it to us every single night, because it gives us 82 nights to practice for when we need it in the playoffs. And every time they do it, Rudy's got to learn if there's a small guy on him, how does he drive him inside? How does he drive him low? How does he get it? Rudy does not score if there's a man between him and the basket generally. What can he do to start adding that to his game? That's the next step to take advantage of those switches.
And there's a couple of more, you feel like there might be a couple of more plays. We know there are a few plays that are designed for Rudy. One where he comes around on that, like he's going to screen on that left side and goes right to the basket.
First play of the second half.
Yes, sir.
I got to chime in, though, and ask D. Locke. I mean, are we going to see a jump shot? We're going to see a 12-footer? You hope not? Even though we saw it in the Olympics.
I'll take dunks.
I know. Analytics, high percentage, correct.
I mean, seriously, if you're the opponent and you got Boyan shooting, Conley shooting, Donovan shooting, Joe shooting, Royce shooting, or Rudy taking a 15-footer, which you can take?
Not 15.
About a 10.
5, 10.
9, 8.
6 or 7 right there.
I want 3. I want 2.
I just liked Hassan Whiteside with that little push up and in. I tell you, David, I'm excited to see how he fares in this system. He looks in shape when we saw him on Monday. And T and I were talking earlier about the offseason in Sacramento. He admitted it, didn't try to hide from it, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one to me that actually has the largest regular season impact on this roster, different from last year. Rudy Gay probably has the largest playoff impact on this roster. But we really were not very good last year when Rudy Gobert left the floor defensively. If Hassan Whiteside, who has the second longest reach in the league behind Rudy, can have a defensive impact, we actually are the number one defensive team in the league last year and get better. And that's kind of crazy.
All right, little brother.
All right.
D-Lock, thanks for your time.
Hey, by the way,
got a question
Thurl,
for Lock.
Yeah.
What time
put it
do I
on
have
chat.
to come by and pick up your bags?
I'll text you.
Okay. All right. And
Don't be late.
And then what else do you need on the plane?
Just numbers. Just bring numbers. That's all you got to do.
Just numbers.
Just numbers. That's it.
I'm good at that. I'm not very good at carrying stuff.
I know where you're going. You're going back in your room right now for more analytics, right? That's right.
Tomahawk. Conley curls. Mitchell meanders. Just a little alliteration.
Yeah, keep working on it.
See you, Dave.
Bailey balls.
Ooh, easy.
David Locke. All right, as we continue to watch Jazz scrimmage, Jordan Clarkson, sixth man of the year. I love the Clarkson story, and I know that Zoom followers as well last week got interviewed by a Channel 2 reporter in Salt Lake City. She had no clue who he was. He went with the flow.
Loved it.
And I thought it went viral. You go to much Jazz games? Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah, quite a bit. Can you spell your name for me? Yeah, Jordan Clarkson. I thought it was a classic.
It was awesome.
Really kind of display, and look at him. It's really just who he is. And we went deep with him in conversation on Monday. And he admits he is a chameleon, and he can change with the weather. But one thing I can tell you, he is one solid individual who has one goal left, and that's Titletown.
Yeah, and he is, I think, more than maybe anybody in the league almost, has really embraced who he is on this team and his role and the freedom that he has with Quin, not to mention the relationship he has with Quin. And so I think I know everybody. Jazz Nation is so excited to watch him perform throughout the whole season.
Again, the Hassan Whiteside rebound. I don't know if he's going to wear those lime green shoes, but I'll be able to spot him on the floor.
I think they glow in the dark.
They may. Battery operated. Battery operated.
Here we go. 1 for 2. 1 for 2. Line up. Line up.
You know, T, in a scrimmage like this, what's the ultimate goal? I mean, obviously you get workouts, you get your legs underneath you, you're working on shots. Also, you're just trying to build that muscle memory, right?
Chemistry.
Chemistry, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. And you know, as soon as I walked in here and saw them start going, it just takes me back, you know, to the old days where, you know, Frank Layton and Jerry Sloan, our training camps, just trying to get used to each other. And even though we're not that far removed from last season, you know, these guys haven't been together. They've been at their own places. Some continue playing.
Donovan was in Miami.
That's right.
Most of the summer, invited down as many players, teammates as he could, who could make it. Let's check in with Nio again, Nio Campbell. I was just checking chat, Nio. There's like 685 fans in the chat room, and I'm sure every one of them has a question. What's up?
I mean, there's quite a few questions. Someone asked, what was the purpose of them starting and stopping so much during the scrimmage? And that's definitely just those moments where they can really just be able to teach, where they can communicate, see what works, see what doesn't work. Another person asked, what was the best moment from content day? I can share my moments, but I actually want to know with you guys, because you all were able to have some really great conversations with the guys. Was there anything that you learned about any of the players that you want to share with the chat?
Okay, those are all good. Nio, thanks. You know, for me, Thurl, I thought it was overall excitement again that they actually liked seeing us.
Yeah, no question.
No, we haven't been around the players on a one-on-one basis now for 18, 19 months, and it was almost great to reintroduce yourself, but I still was able to kind of, I like body language. I like to just kind of hold back and take a look and see how people respond, but I sensed an incredible, there was no talk of being tired. There's been a lot of basketball the last 20 months. Right? A couple of champions crowned along the way.
That's right.
And I just kind of, I felt like that every guy who walked in that room was renewed. There was energy. There was a purpose.
Well, what I really liked is the actual atmosphere wasn't a natural, like what
Q&A.
What you normally
there was
regard
no
as a
cameras.
Q&A.
There was no cameras in the room.
Right. And for the most part, they knew who we were. And when you feel like you know someone, you open up a little bit more. And all of those guys, even the newcomers, felt comfortable enough to really dive a little bit deeper than normal, talking about some personal things that they're doing, some things that may be on the horizon that they're doing outside of basketball. So it was just nice to sit and have a conversation with these guys.
All right, Nio, what else you have?
For sure. So somebody asked, what's Holly Rowe like? And I am honestly so excited to work with her. She's just a legend in the industry. Super kind, super sweet, and just so smart, so knowledgeable about the game. What is she like, though? How have your conversations been like with Holly?
Well, for me, I've known Holly since the days that she started at BYU. We did a few games together. I was her first play-by-play announcer on ESPN when she broke in as a sideline reporter, and now she's made her way to ESPN, ABC, one of the main voices in college football on the sideline, and the WNBA, and she's coming home. I'm excited for her, and it's a great addition.
I felt like I've known Holly for years. She just didn't know me. Right, but when she got here, I just I was honored that she's going to be joining our team, our broadcast team, as an analyst as well. But her personality is just disarming. She's so knowledgeable of the game, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun for all three of us to be able to interact during the season.
All right, during this little breather, let's check in with JP Chunga, who, by the way, had a chance to talk to Holly Rowe and got to know her, and you will too.
But it's like the honor of a lifetime when I tell you, like, I just walked out of there And I was trying to act all cool and normal in front of Bart, like, yeah, of course, this, whatever. And then I walk out and I just start crying. And I'm like, this is so cool. Like, oh my gosh. I'm such a nerd, but you got to imagine this little kid who remembers the day the Utah Jazz moved to Salt Lake City. The news reports that the New Orleans Jazz were moving to, I think it was like in 1976 or something. And now fast forward and I get to cover the team. It's just amazing to me. It really is amazing. I'm pinching myself.
Round ball roundup, JP Chunga, Holly Rowe. I know fans want to hear back from Quin. I'm not sure if he still has the microphone on. So, folks, he will join us and take your questions after this scrimmage. So stay close, and we'll go get as many questions as we can for Quin Snyder. But as you see, tactician, 8th year beginning with the Utah Jazz, and he's had great success coming off the 52 wins last year. By the way, Jazz fans, mini plans are an affordable and flexible way to experience the excitement of Jazz basketball. Plans vary in size from 4 to 11 games, start just at $76. You can call or text 801-355, you know the number, DUNK, or visit UtahJazz.com. Could be a hot ticket this year.
No question.
Always is, but even more so this year. Yeah, I loved hearing Q as well. He was kind enough to put that microphone on for a few minutes and give us a little taste. And I know it makes Jazz fans hungry for more. I don't blame them. How about that deep shot?
Yeah.
We've seen that a few times.
And we're going to see it a lot more.
Getting back to Clarkson, if fans, he's kind of a mystery man in a way. And he talked to us about, what he does, what goes through his mind when he shoots the three, but mostly when he gets inside the paint. And he was so funny when he came back with the conversation is, look, I'm closer to the basket when I'm drifting in and out of the paint.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to take it outside, but he will. But that's one player in the NBA that, like a Steve Nash of old, who keeps the dribble alive and gives the Jazz an opportunity to either get that bucket inside or a kick-out pass for three.
Well, a live dribble keeps the defense guessing, right? Because you just don't know what that player is going to do, and you try to gamble and steal it. You're basically going to give him a bucket, but you just don't know what he's going to do. And he's gotten so much better too at knowing his situation and knowing who's open if guys drop down in the paint. So he's got just a great IQ for the game, and I'm ready to see a lot more flame on, Bowler.
I know you are. Well, he is too. I wonder what kind of opening day hairstyle he'll bring. He kind of surprised some folks in Vegas.
Well, his fashion, I'm not sure if there's a lot of players in the league that will match what he does with his fashion and his hair. So we're excited for that too.
That's why he's a chameleon. He can change.
Those days are over for me. I have one thing I can do with my hair, and that's try to grow it.
Well, I'm looking at it right now. It's not too bad. Hey, let's meet some of the new guys with the Jazz. And Rudy Gay signed as a free agent. And, he had some reported off-season surgery. He should be ready to go, hopefully in the near future. Eric Paschall acquired in a trade with Golden State. You saw him, big body, defender, hungry, good friend of Donovan Mitchell. I like this selection. I'm anxious to see how this works. And then Hassan Whiteside, who we've talked about. He's been very active so far in this scrimmage.
Yeah, and I'm excited about all three of those guys in different ways, right? If you look at the playoffs this past season and kind of how the Jazz went out, you say to yourself, well, what were the Jazz missing? What are their weakest at? Obviously, health is one thing you can't control sometimes, but a lot of teams brought that mid-range game. Eric Paschall is a guy who is an undersized, big guy who can stretch the floor. He can knock that short mid-range shot down, and he can battle you under the paint and defend multiple positions. So I'm excited for that.
Childhood friend, as we mentioned, of Donovan. They're jawing right now. Mitchell, 25 years young, and as this scrimmage begins to wrap up, get your questions on chat in the chat room, and we'll get Nayo an opportunity to read those questions, and we'll get them over to Quin Snyder as well.
she's got a tough job. There's a lot of questions.
Well, I'm watching right now, and it's just one after the other. And I know fans really want to hear more from Q. Can't blame them. Cameron Livingston, let's go. I'm just looking at Bradley. Oh, let's go, number 5. As we watch Conley go to work. You know, and T, talking about the Jazz, Mike Conley could have gone anywhere. And, you know, when Nio asked about a nice splash for 3. Where he could have gone, he said, look, it didn't take long. You know, this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
And that's what Jordan Clarkson said as well. And I think with Ryan Smith and Dwayne Wade, I think fans are starting to maybe believe a destination point is right here.
No question about it. And obviously the ultimate goal is to win a championship. Jazz got as close as, you know, they have been in a long time since Malone Stockton days. But you look at Mike Conley and you know that it's not just about that. It's about the relationships. It's about this community, this city, this state that has embraced him, and his family just enjoys being here. And I'm excited to see a healthy Mike Conley and what he can do this year.
Well, we walked in for the first time in a long time. This is the Zions Bank basketball campus, and if you've never been inside, it's been totally redone. You got the faux brick that's been put up along the sides. The Jazz have embraced the black and white look. And the floors indicate the Jazz note. Take note, there's 2 practice floors here, so you can run multiple squads. You can go half court, full court, and beyond, right around that corner, you may see the big glass window partition. That's where the Jazz will go, and that's where they break for lunch, dinner. They have a chef who takes care of their dietary needs. It's an amazing facility with offices just behind us. And we're setting up above the floor.
On our perch.
On our perch.
Yeah, and it's, you know, you talked about the different look. And its simplicity, it kind of speaks to this Jazz team. Listen, this is who we are. There's no secrets. It's not fancy. We're a family, and we go out and play like it. And it's right out there in front of you. And Jazz Nation embraces them. I love the new take note design, but it's just a simple. It really speaks of this team, and they're no nonsense and just coming out and get things done.
Yeah, Chat wanted to see this Whiteside dunk again, and you know, good control. That's what Gobert, again, through his years with the Jazz, continuing to try to build that. We talked to him too about the lower body, being able to stand on the block, hold his spot. Also, though, we've seen him work out. He's got an 8-pack. We know that. He's happy to show that. He's happy to show that anytime. But also, you know, boxing, lifting, and we've seen him develop from just a kid to a man.
Yeah, no question about it. And I was joking during media day. I was wondering if Hassan could play a little 4. To have those 2 guys, Rudy Gobert and Hassan, out there together is imposing. But think of this. There probably won't be a lot of drop-off when you talk about resting Rudy and bringing Hassan on board. You've got 2 great defenders there, 2 guys who have the ability to score. Now it's really about that connection with Hassan and the guards to make sure that relationship is solid on the basketball court.
I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I'm going to use a lock stat that he and I talked about the other day. Utah was #1 defensively with Rudy on the floor, 26th with him off.
Yeah.
And so what that does is open the door for Hassan to really have very, very little differential between a Gobert and a Hassan Whiteside. Look, Rudy's got an incredible special talent. We know that. His recovery time and his footwork is remarkable. I'm really excited to see the Hassan Whiteside of old and see what he brings to this side. Let's bring back in Nio Campbell real quick. Nio, I just see the questions just continue to roll through. I'm loving the fact that Zoom and the Jazz have allowed us to come aboard and show this practice or this scrimmage. What's new? What are people talking about?
mean, these questions are going by really fast. I'm just happy to see that everyone's interacting. But someone did ask, again, another question for you both. What do you think the rotation will look like with all of the new additions?
Good one.
What do you guys think the rotation is going to look like?
Niall, that's a great one. I'm looking what we saw. What I can say here is that we've watched Mike and Donovan, of course, Royce and Bogey, who we haven't talked much about.
Yeah.
But we had a good chat with him as well, talking about finally getting it out of his head. Thurl, you've been through injury. Most people have. It takes some people longer than others, and it did take Bogdanovich, I think, a half a season to quit thinking about the wrist, where he fell, how he was going to fall out of bounds. Could he take a hit? And now he's just told us, look, I understand I'm going to have some pain. Doesn't mean that I'm injured, and he's had to work to play through it. That's your starting five. And then you kind of get in. I'm interested to see how the rotations will be in situations because of the depth of the Jazz. Joe will be off the bench.
Well, the Jazz got a lot deeper in the offseason. But let's start with this. If it ain't broke, you don't fix it. You've got a core group of guys who you're continuing to build around, right? That you just named them off. And Joe will do whatever you ask him to do. He'll come off the bench. I'm sure there will be times when Joe will be in the starting lineup.
He will. He'll cook dinner.
That's right. You're exactly right. And, and so when you look at this team last season, I think maybe the part that needed the most work was the bench. You need to strengthen the bench, especially in the long haul when you get into the playoffs. You've got to have a deep bench.
All right, Nio, I look at 984 fans in the chat room going at it. I know it's fast and furious. What else you got?
Super fast, super furious. And it was so funny that you guys brought up Bogey. I have to tell the fans here, I had a great conversation with Bogey, and he actually sang for me.
Hold it. Bogey sang for you?
Bogey sang.
How's the voice? How's the voice?
The voice is, he should stick to his day job. I think basketball is paying him pretty well. He should probably stick to that.
Okay.
No.
And some people were asking more about some of the content. And as a digital content reporter, we do have a lot of content coming out. One thing that I'm doing more with the players are hot takes. So I like to argue, and the players like to argue too. So we're arguing about pineapples on pizza, when Christmas music should start. And that's where he got Bogey singing. He actually sang in his native language, in Croatian. So it was definitely an awesome moment. But yes, we're going to keep having that content going out. There was one recent piece that we had at training camp with Jared Butler. He has a great personality. I think he could double as an on-camera personality. So you can definitely expect more content from him, with him, just, his rookie year. I'm really excited to do more with him.
Yeah, good. You're one of the rare people, Nio, that you've been serenaded by Bogey. That's something. He's got some ice on that shoulder. We knew he was a little tender today. And you see him walking onto the floor as the Jazz huddle up around Quin Snyder. Hey, saw Bogey there with some ice. All right, we're going to have Quin Snyder here in a moment. So if you want to, if Jazz fans want to throw some questions Quin's way, Thurl and I, we both have you got your phone up? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And we can throw those out to us, to him as best as we can, and just try to be as direct as you like. And we'll get him to Quin Snyder when he steps back to the camera. They're done for the day. Joe, Clarkson, there's Mike, headband Mike. He started doing yoga. In fact, is it Bikram?
Bikram yoga. That's the hot yoga.
The hot yoga. He wants to be as stretched and flexible as he possibly can for this season. As Donovan Mitchell is crusting on greatness, as he is so coachable, Thurl. That's the beauty of Donovan as well. Sponge, once more. Give it to him. And Quin Snyder and him are about as perfect a match as it could be.
Yeah, and at the same time, Bowler, we've seen him evolve into a great leader. I mean, his leadership on this team is evident by the way the guys respect him. they know what they need to do out on the court because Donovan's cheering for him when he's on the bench, and that's a sign of a great leader. Is how great you can make your team as well.
It's always work. That's the one thing I think fans need to know. Each player basically has a coach. They're not like it was in your day. I mean, Jerry and Phil.
Multitask.
Kenny Nat, Gordy Chiesa, that was really kind of it.
Phil Johnson, yep.
Phil, yeah. And now there's individual coaches that work with these players constantly, looking at plays, as you see Mike, and also video. The whole digital world, everyone's got a laptop, and they cut up a practice, and they'll go back and review it and try to find just something they can improve on.
And Butler, they're watching video during the game, before the game, on the bench.
All right, let's go down courtside. Quin Snyder is going to join us on the headset. Q, great to talk to you. I can see you almost in person for the first time in 18, 19 months. But let's break this down. Thanks for letting us inside.
Yes.
And we've got nearly 1,000 people on chat right now just talking about the Utah Jazz. Let's start with just Monday. Your players were magnificent as we talked to them. You went to Vegas, and I know you wanted to kind of recreate that connection that you guys built in Orlando. Did you succeed?
Yeah, I think, everybody misses the opportunity to be with their families for a couple days, but really not having anywhere to go after practice except to go eat with each other or get back in the gym. And Albert Hall and his group, Hall Pass, just did a terrific job. Mike Wells on our staff, the logistics were such that it allowed us to get a lot done. And as you said, maybe the most important thing, especially with some newer players and other guys, just reconnecting. And, in that environment, something as simple as not having to get on a bus, which is what we had in Orlando, just maximizes the amount of time that guys are spending together. And I think what you saw today really was a function of that, and that, part of it with a group that, has been together, for me and for our staff, allowing them the opportunity to really take ownership and coach themselves. And I think if there's one thing that jumped out today for the people that were watching, you saw, we put them in some situations, whether it would be side out of bounds or under out of bounds, free throw situations, and wanted them to organize and manufacture things for one another, because sometimes that's where you get your best execution. And obviously there's certain parameters that we want them to do that within. But I was happy with the progress that we've made.
Q, a question from a fan named Jake, and he just wants to simply know what's your favorite part of being an NBA coach as you start now year number 8. It's gone fast.
Well, I think, it's a great question, and for me it's an easy question. And I've been fortunate that over the course of my time here, the rosters that I've been able to coach and the people that have put those together, whether it be Dennis, Justin, the whole group, all of their staff, that I get to come to practice and work with guys that want to be coached, in addition to being really good players, that they're the ones that really, the way that they conduct themselves, the way that they interact, that's how a culture is established. And I benefit from that, as does their whole staff. And you walk in the door and you see guys that you want to see. It makes it fun.
Coach, good to see you. And I know you had a great summer. I've got a question here from Jamie in the chat. She says, will we see Rudy Gobert and Hassan Whiteside on the court at the same time this season?
I think of that, a lot of that's matchup dependent. That's a lineup that, we call that the Wasatch lineup, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And that's something that one of you guys coined. And I think that will be used, when the game dictates. Given the way that today's NBA game functions, where there's a lot of different matchup opportunities, that's something that, as I said, that sporadically or uniquely, that could be something that we go to. But it also involves a different style of play. And right now, those two guys, surrounded with some of the shooters and the playmakers that we have, they're most effective when it's one of them as opposed to the other one. But I do think one of the things that's happening, you saw today, is they're making each other better too.
Yeah, absolutely. Dell asks you, and after a 52-win season and being knocked down in the second round, Dell simply wants to know the focus of your team as you head into yet another new season.
Well, first of all, is that Dell Demps, one of my assistants, sneaking a question in there?
He's in the back office, yeah.
Hopefully he knows the answer to that. I think, one of the things that last year, we really wanted to do was to establish the identity of our team, and that takes time. It takes repetition. It takes practice. You're always going to have matchup situations in the playoffs that are more conducive in one way or the other to personnel. But for us, we know the things, that people perceive as being effective against us, whether it's what people commonly refer to as 5 out. Prior to that, it was a pick and pop big. Our ability to defend on the perimeter, our balance, our health, some of those things that we can't control, we have to do our best to adapt to. And then there's other things, from a game plan situation that, frankly, we worked on, in anticipation last year as well. But sometimes, in a playoff situation, it becomes even more real. And that's, put it this way, we know our team, and we know the league, and we know what's coming.
Coach, as a former player, players are used to routines and preparing for the next season early. As a coach, is there something you go through that is consistent, or do you just take time off with your family and start whatever that routine is?
I think it varies from player to player. I think some guys really, it's important for them to get away. I think for everybody at a certain point, whether that happens directly, when the season ends or in August, or we wanted that, it's more psychological than anything. But I don't think, the way that we ended the season, in addition to the way that we played during the season, I don't think either of those things, there's games when you go in the game after when the game's over in the locker room, you say, hey, that's just one, let's just move on. That's not the case in a playoff situation. It's also not the case in the regular season. So you want to take from it the things that you need to get better. Some of those things are just what you mentioned. It's, there's an element of rest, and I think an element of, you're emotionally drained, particularly with the last, this last couple of years and the way that COVID has impacted all of us. But I think, from watching our guys today, you can see a level of enthusiasm. And my biggest challenge to them was less than, getting back a couple weeks early and starting to work together and practice. I felt like we have some of that connectivity, and I just wanted us to be fresh emotionally. And the one thing I told them is to come back in shape.
And they look like they are. Coach, Matthias asks, and I think this is probably a pretty popular question among Jazz fans, the NCAA champion, Jared Butler. What's your thoughts about rotation, and how can he earn minutes?
Well, I think the key thing is earn, and Jared's been someone that's earned everything throughout the course of his career, and he'll continue to do that. The good thing about our group, it's tough to crack. I mean, depending on how you define rotation, the guys that we had 2 guys that finished first and second and 6th man of the year. So not only do you have 5 starters, you have 2 guys there. You have a backup center. So sometimes more than anything, you just keep working, and that's something that, that Jared's understands and is going to do. And there's things that he can do that are unique, that can help our team. And there's going to be opportunities, for all of our guys. You saw that at the end of last year, where we played the last month of the season. That didn't get talked about a lot, but we literally played without our 2 point guards for a month, and that had an impact on Joe Ingles. And our team, frankly, functioned really well during that time, but it takes a toll. So there's minutes there. You don't know when they're going to come, but we have confidence in Jared and who he is, and that's why we drafted him, that he's someone that can. One of the things that he's able to do is to assimilate himself, into the group, and no different than when Royce was here or Joe was here. Some of those guys early in their careers that we're trying to figure out a way to get on the floor. I think it starts with defense, the ability to knock down a shot and understanding how to play with other people. And those are things that he's done throughout the course of his career.
Coach, a lot of questions on the chat about small ball lineups, one from Charlotte Batten. How are you exploring small ball lineups or lineups that can punish it?
Small ball, it's an interesting thought, and I think, if I could, kind of talk about that for a second. Most of the teams that go small, they go small so they can score.
Right.
And if anybody can find, for me, a player that's better defensively than Rudy Gobert, Rudy Gobert is our best isolation defender. He's our best rim protector. So the second part of the question is, how do you exploit other teams offensively? We put 75 points on the board against the Clippers in the first half. So clearly we're doing something right there. The narrative that exists about us is, defending teams that switch 1 through 5 in pick and roll. And those are things that obviously you're always exploring. But you want your best players on the floor, and then you want to figure out how to use them in order, to attack. But that's one of the things that I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation is we're going to see teams go small against us. And some of it, we ask Rudy to do not too many things, but we try to utilize him in a lot of ways. And it's easy to point to Rudy and say he didn't do his job when Rudy's trying to do his job and 2 other people's jobs at the same time. So I think it falls on all of us. There's never any one player that determines that. And that's something we collectively as a group need to continue to explore, whether it's pick and roll where people are switching against Rudy. And clearly we're not going to put Rudy, in an isolation situation. But one of the great things about having Rudy is if you have him with Mike and Donovan, because that's when he gets really effective.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, Q, last question, and it's a fun one. Zach saw you and Joe having your usual, little jab at one another. Talk about that relationship with Jingle and Joe.
Joe and I have been together from day one. I got here a little before he did. But, his presence on the court, he knows, the things that, that I want and the things that he wants that can make us be a successful team. And sometimes I set him up a little bit with those things so I can get his voice as well. And, just philosophically, one of the things that I really believe in, and I think our players know, is that, we can speak the truth to one another, and I can coach our guys. And the way that, to me, that really has to evolve and occur is that everybody treats each other with respect. And that's the one rule that we have. And humor, is oftentimes,
yes,
plenty of respect in humor. And frankly, understanding that someone gets your jokes. And in many cases, Joe doesn't think anything I'm saying is funny. But I appreciate him laughing at least a little bit, nonetheless.
Well, it's his birthday. I guess you could surprise him with a bucket of cold ice water if you had to.
He's like me. He's trying to forget that he has birthdays anymore.
So am I. Hey,
there you go.
Quin, can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you for letting us inside the building and watching really how the Jazz get things done on a day-to-day basis, and I know Jazz fans are very thankful. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
Well, we're thankful for Jazz fans. Let me say that. So anything we can do to, give people a little bit of a window into how we do our job and how we try to get better is a good thing because, they're better at doing their job a lot of times than we are.
That's Quin Snyder.
Thank you again, Coach.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, you guys.
Fun day. A lot of insight. Hope fans enjoyed it. And I tell you, Q, when you get him one-on-one like that, it's an amazing thing to see how open he truly is and the impact he has with his players and the fun that he can actually share like with one Joe Ingles.
Well, whenever you're around Quin, whether it's his players or us, you always learn something, don't you? And it's just fun. And I'm just so excited, Bowler. So excited to be with you.
I tell you what, we start in San Antonio, radio only on Monday night. And then Wednesday, we'll bring you the first preseason game from Big D, Dallas, Texas. We'll see Doncic and Porzingis against kind of a new look Jazz. Still the solid core, but some interesting pieces around Donovan, Conley, and Jingle and Joe. Road to the playoff brought to you by Udo. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon, everybody.